cracking with our show, then we'll get an update in terms of what's happening in the European markets, what's the update from Greece. But joining us on the show today, we have Sharmila Joshi as well as we have Feroz Aziz. Both of them join us in our Mumbai News Center today, so that's good news for us. And let's get straight cracking. Our first caller is already waiting by. So we have Mahavir who calls us from Surat. He has investments, in KPIT. Hi Mahavir.
Yes, sir.
How can we help you today?
Sir, basically I've invested 500 shares in KPIT at the rate of 110.
Right.
And I've invested that for short-term trade, but now it's trading at downside.
All right. Mahavir, let's try to help you out with this one. Are you okay with holding these shares for the longer term since it's already 20 bucks off your buy price?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sharmila, what's your take? In fact, I can feel for Mahavir because the stock took a big correction. He must have thought at around 110 bucks, it's looking more or less stable. Because on that day it came out of these numbers, I think it cracked close to around 15-20% approximately. What's your take? At around 90 rupees, the promoter says there's no problem whatsoever. But do you think he should hold on or do you think he should cut his losses given that mid-cap IT has been so weak?
So I think Ups is right because the kind of fall this stock has seen is not funny. That I think if you sort of compare with what the management is saying, they're essentially saying that there is no stake sale. They are saying that dividend is as per what it has been in previous years, and also they're saying that the one issue that they had with the client in the last quarter, that is also getting sorted. So I would say from a fundamental perspective, from a valuation perspective, this would be completely the wrong price to sell. I think what is also hitting the stock a little is that yesterday we had two managements really speaking about their concern. One was Persistent and one was KPIT. So I think in the case of Persistent, probably it made the concerns were more well founded than they seem to be in the case of KPIT, at least prima facie. So if he can hold on and if he has really the wherewithal, then he should just stay put because this is completely the wrong price to be selling the stock, especially if, as the management indicated, there is really nothing big to worry about.
KPIT Tech, it's fallen off a cliff from March onwards. I mean, it's just moved to a completely different plane and on the lower side. That's the stock. But for now, let's move on to our next caller. Sujit Kumar is joining in from Kolkata. He, I think, wants to invest in gold. Let's ask him. Sujit, good afternoon.
गुड आफ्टरनून.
हाँ बताइए सुजीत, क्या क्वेश्चन है आपका?
मैं ये चाह रहा हूँ कि मैं गोल्ड में इन्वेस्ट करना चाह रहा हूँ, ठीक है?
अच्छा,
अभी सही समय होगा गोल्ड में इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए? मार्केट कैसा है?
कितना अमाउंट इन्वेस्ट करना चाह रहे हैं? आपका होल्डिंग पीरियड क्या है? लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए करेंगे कि और
1 साल के लिए? 1 साल के लिए.
1 साल के लिए इन्वेस्ट करना. इफ आई कुड जस्ट आस्क यू कि आपके पोर्टफोलियो में और भी एसेट क्लासेस हैं, मतलब इक्विटी या लैंड, कि आप अभी खाली गोल्ड के बारे में सोच रहे हैं?
यानी कि मैं एकदम नया हूँ तो मैं चाह रहा हूँ कि 1 साल के लिए पैसा लगाऊंगा तो मोटा मोटी किस में इक्विटी में लगाना सही होगा या गोल्ड में लगाना सही होगा?
अच्छा ठीक है, तो ये आई थॉट कि आपका क्वेश्चन ऐसा होगा कि अगर आप लगा रहे हैं 1 साल के लिए पैसा तो इक्विटी में लगाएं कि गोल्ड में लगाएं. लेट्स आस्क फिरोज. फिरोज, व्हाट डू यू से?
Yes, Surjit, I personally think that gold में आपको नहीं रहना चाहिए. Gold is not one asset class which can outperform from a long-term perspective. I think you should look at equities. Equities are at the cusp of a bull run, and it's very evident from what the indication is in terms of macro and the corporate earnings over the next couple of years would definitely be significantly better than what they have been over the last year and a half. So I personally think you should not be investing in gold. आपको gold में ना invest करके equity में invest करना चाहिए और equity में long टर्म्स के लिए पैसा रखो तो काफी फायदा होता है. अगर आप उदाहरण के तौर पे अगर म्यूचुअल फंड्स में 10 साल के पर्सपेक्टिव से इन्वेस्ट करें तो आप अगर वर्स्ट डे पे भी इन्वेस्ट करते तो आपके 14% 15% की रिटर्न आ जाती. तो आई थिंक दैट्स सिग्निफिकेंटली बेटर देन बाइंग गोल्ड फॉर अ लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर. सो सुजीत, आई थिंक यू शुड इन्वेस्ट इन equity म्यूचुअल फंड. मैं आपको 2 बता देता हूं जो आप खरीद सकते हैं अपने लिए. एक मिराय एसेट इंडिया अपॉर्चुनिटीज फंड एक लार्ज कैप फंड होगा और मिड कैप कैटेगरी में रेलिगा मिड एंड स्मॉल कैप. ये 2 फंड्स अगर आप अपने लिए खरीद लें और मंथली इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करने तो मंथली भी कर लें, अगर लमसम इन्वेस्टमेंट करने हो तो लमसम भी कर लें. ये 2 स्कीम्स में आपको फायदा होने की ज्यादा संभावना है. अगर आप 3 साल बाद ये डिसीजन को रिविजिट करके देखें तो बेहतर होगा.
All right, then keep faith in equities. That looks like a better investment, and that's what's really been proved in the last 1 year approximately. Gold has been dwindling lower while equities have given you good returns. But let's pull up a couple of stocks, because the market is moving around. Voltas should come up for you. That stock, in fact, has spiked up in the last few minutes. So pull up Voltas. Remember, these stocks will all play out expiry in the next 1.5 hours. Pull up Century Textiles as well. That one should come up for you. Remember, it's been a big outperformer. It's higher by a good 15% in the last 10 days approximately. So that stock as well should come up for you. That one is moving higher in the last few minutes. And maybe IRB Infra as well is calling for some attention. So that was Voltas. That's Century Textiles as well. Pull up IRB Infra as well. That one as well is moving higher slowly. And we have GMR Infra as well. It's been quite a volatile stock, but that one as well is seeing a bit of an uptake in the last few minutes. Let's get back to answering your queries. Though we have Mitesh who calls us from Gujarat, and he has investments in the big boy ICICI Bank. Hi Mitesh.
हाँ जी सर, गुड आफ्टरनून सर.
गुड आफ्टरनून जी. आपका सवाल क्या है?
सर मेरा सवाल है कि मेरे पास 100 शेयर है आईसीआईसीआई बैंक के एट द रेट ऑफ 285.
ऑलराइट.
और सर इसमें मैं क्या करूं? अभी होल्ड करूं? 1 साल के लिए मैं होल्ड कर सकता हूं.
ऑलराइट.
और सर दूसरा अबन ऑफ तो 330 रुपये का लिया हुआ है.
330.
वो भी मैं 1 साल तक, हाँ 330 रुपये एट द रेट ऑफ. तो सर वो भी 1 साल के लिए मैं रुक सकता हूँ. तो क्या करूँ?
अबान ऑफशोर का क्वांटिटी क्या है? 40 शेयर्स.
हाँ
40 शेयर्स और 330 आपका बाय प्राइस है.
राइट सर, कल ही मैंने लिया था.
ओह ओके. और ये भी 1 साल के लिए होल्ड कर सकते हैं?
यस सर.
All right, Sharmila, what's your take? He's a lucky investor. He's got ICICI Bank at the bottom, it seems, at around the 280-285 mark. So he's making some money, so that's good news. And Aban offshore, now I've seen that stock move around. What do you think?
ICICI Bank, I think both stocks are a hold, but coming to ICICI Bank first, I think that among the private banks, I would say HDFC, ICICI Bank are stocks that you should have in your portfolio. We've seen a correction across private banks, and some of it seems a little unwarranted given the fact that ICICI Bank had a fairly good set of numbers this quarter. Again, it's a well-capitalized bank. They're not going to require any funds going ahead. There was some concern over slippages this quarter, but even over there, I think the restructured assets, in fact, didn't show as bad a trend as what market was expecting. So I think all things put together, private banks have weathered this storm better. And now I think since we are looking at a scenario where economy will look better and credit offtake, etc., will be better, I think it's a good idea to stay invested in ICICI Bank. Here, my target would be closer to 375, 380. But as clearly you have to be stay put in it for 12 to 18 months. Aban Offshore, I think the good news is that a lot of issues that they had seem to be getting sorted out, and it is a leverage company, but a lot of those issues are now slowly getting sorted, and their working capital is balance sheet, working capital, etc., is looking better. So from that perspective, again, I think this is a stock that you can hold on to with a 12-month perspective.
Okay, so hold for at least a year on those counters. Well, we promised you more from Europe, so let's head straight to it. All eyes, of course, on the EU summit that kicks off in Brussels today. Attempts are being made to reach a last-minute deal so that Greece doesn't default on its upcoming IMF loan repayment. They owe the IMF $1.6 billion. We've got Steve Sedgwick now joining in live from Athens. Steve, what's happening? What's your sense on what we can expect today?
Look, I don't think things are going well. I don't think they're going well in Brussels. And if they were going well in Brussels, I think that could lead to problems in Athens as well. It seems that there is a lot of rancor, dispute over various issues, distrust amongst the creditors and indeed Greece as well. I've spoken to two members of the government today, one from Syriza, one from the independent Greeks, which make up the coalition. And neither of them are happy about the turn of events. They are very distrustful of the agenda of the IMF. In fact, one of the members of the government from the independent Greek party said to me he was suspicious that the creditors were looking for some regime change and didn't actually want to deal with Syriza over the medium term, and were looking to talk to people such as New Democracy, such as Tupatami, which make up part of the opposition at the moment. On the official agenda, though, there are still big issues, and the IMF has raised concerns over pension reform, taxation, labour laws, public sector wages, closed professions and investment. And of course, on the Greek side, they want to get on the table some form of discussion about longer term debt debt relief. Now, the creditors in the form of the ECB, the IMF and the European Commission have said there can be no conversation about debt relief until they have agreed structural reforms in order to finish the second bailout package. The problem is, if Mr. Tsipras, the Prime Minister of Greece, does accede to those demands as well, then he's got to come and sell it back to his party here and to his coalition partners. And as I say, the independent Greeks, which make up the junior coalition partner, one of their members just told me a few minutes ago that they would not be able to accept any deal as put forward by the IMF as well, which means that Mr. Tsipras would try and find support from the centre ground, possibly even from the right of Greek politics as well. And that, as some are saying, could be a suicide note for his Syriza government, which is just still so very young. So despite the fact I believe many in the markets, in the financial markets, are looking at it as a deal or no deal situation, even a deal could augur a lot of problems down the line. The other major issue is the time frame as well, and concerns about Greece stuttering to a default even if a deal were agreed, because if the timescale does go on into the next couple of days, it gives the Greek Parliament no time to ratify any deal, and which gives the Bundestag in Germany no time to ratify on the back of the Greeks, and hence we'll get to that default deadline with the IMF on Tuesday. Back to you.
All right, Steve. Thanks so much for getting us that action. So that's the latest. I think Steve summed it up the best.
Yeah.
If it's okay in Brussels, it might not be okay in Athens. If it's okay in Athens, how's it going to be okay in Brussels? Welcome back. We will continue taking more questions from you. So let's get straight to it. Sushil's calling us from Mumbai. He has investments in Kane India. Sushil, hi.
Hi.
So how can we help you? At what price did you buy? What's your investment time horizon?
I have purchased Can India at average price of 175.
175, okay.
Yeah, and the ownership is changed. And since changing of the ownership, a lot of top-level managers have left, like Rahul Dhir and all. And the share price was hovering around 340 to 350. Now suddenly it has reduced to almost half. So what is your advice? Should I hold and dispose of it?
But your purchase price was 175, right? So you're still in the money.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they are giving good dividend also.
Yes, lots happening, of course. Kane is a complex story. Sharmila, what do you think? I mean, first of all, there's this impending merger. Then, of course, the way crude prices are behaving. What's your advice?
Yeah, so clearly I think the reason why the stock has fallen is twofold. One is the fall in crude, because if you look at the share price of Kane, it sort of always more or less mirrors the way crude moves. So if crude moves higher, so does Kane. So I think we are in a scenario where I would actually expect crude prices to stay subdued for a bit. So I don't see any joy coming from there. And overall, I'm not, honestly, I mean, I've not really viewed this whole merger thing too positively. Largely because Vedanta is a company with a lot of debt, and, Kane is the company with money. And obviously, I mean, while it is said that this money is not going to be used to pay back debt, etc., I think what it will show ultimately in the books is that it will be a bigger positive for Vedanta than it is for Kane. So I think even from that perspective, this is not a move I've liked too much. So I think only and only if you're like, one of those retail investors who are happy to stay invested in a stock, with a maybe 5-6 year kind of a period, and you're happy with the dividend that you're getting, only then I would stay put in Kane. But very honestly, if it was me, I wouldn't buy Kane, and if I had it, I would exit.
All right, then, and lucky investor there. We've had callers who say that they bought at 250, 300, 340. Well, that's someone who's making money. He's bought a big chunk, 9,000 shares, and making some money in excess of 1 lakh. Maybe after he pays his taxes, he'll be earning close to around 1 lakh 10 approximately. But let's get to our next caller. We have Mr. Chaudhary, who calls us from Kolkata. He has a personal finance query. Hi, Mr. Chaudhary. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, आपका सवाल क्या है?
मेरा सवाल है, actually I'm a government servant.
All right.
I want to invest 2 to 3 lakhs rupees for a period of 3 years.
Super. All right.
Yes. Can you give me some name of some good stocks where I can get smart returns in the next 3 to 4 years?
Right. So, Mr. Chaudhary, you want to invest into stocks or you want to invest into mutual funds?
I'm invested in mutual fund also, but now I want to invest in the stock market.
All right, you want to invest in the stock markets. All right, Sharmila, let's come across to you. Any good picks that you think, do you think you should go into the private banking space, or maybe IT has got badly beaten down? Is this an open-ended question?
Yeah, and I think if I understand correctly, if he's an investor who has no holdings in equity, then perhaps with 2 to 3 lakhs, he should sort of make a basket of 5 or 6 stocks, buy each stock to a value of about 40,000-50,000 and then just stay put. And precisely as you're saying, I think pick one of the leading private banks, either an HDFC bank or an ICICI bank. Go with a capital goods name, either a Larsen or a Bail. I would prefer a Larsen. Definitely have some pharma. So choose maybe a Sun Pharma or a Dr. Reddy or something Cipla even, and then again I think have something from IT. So you can have either an HCL Tech or a Tech Mahindra going ahead and make a basket like this of 5 or 6 stocks and just stay invested in it for 2 to 3 years. I think that should give you good benefits.
Okay, on that note, let's take a quick break. Still 0.5% up, 8,400 on the Nifty. More queries coming up on the other side.
But let's get to our next caller. We have Mr. Saini who calls us from Jaipur. He has investments in Ashok Leyland. Hi, good afternoon, sir.
हाँ सर, विराट बोल रहा हूँ जयपुर से.
Yes, sir. आपका सवाल क्या है?
सर मेरे 200 शेयर हैं, 65 रुपए के अशोक लेलैंड के.
Right. और आप लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर है सर?
लॉन्ग टर्म. और आज मैंने टाटा मोटर भी लिया है, 100 शेयर लिया है 433 में.
आपने टाटा मोटर्स लिया आज?
हाँ.
आपका बाय प्राइस?
433 रुपए में.
ऑलराइट. और आपका क्वांटिटी?
क्वांटिटी है सर 100 शेयर.
100 share. Okay. All right. Sharmila, what's your take? He's got these couple of stocks. Tata Motors he's bought today, while he's got Jain Irrigation. I think he's making around $5 on Ashok Leyland.
So I would say Ashok Leyland is a hold. I think the only caveat is that perhaps it will spend more time at this sort of level before it moves up. You have been hearing some negative noise about their JV with Nissan, but I think the kind of orders they've got and the kind of results they've been given, and to add to the fact that we are, ultimately and finally after a very long time seeing a recovery in the commercial vehicle space, which is showing up in the kind of monthly sales numbers that we are getting across players. So definitely I think Ashok Leyland stands to benefit from that. But since the stock has had such a sharp run up, I think if you are to expect anything higher from current levels, you'll have to give it time. So I think that's the caveat. If you are ready to stay put for a year or two, then definitely hold on to Ashok Leyland. Closer to 80 would be my target on Ashok Leyland. I think similarly for Tata Motors, a lot of concerns, but I think they're now in the price. So whether it's concerns from China or with the way European markets have been, or right, even domestic markets, I think it's all in the price. So that too is a hold.
All right, then let's also cut across to Ritu Singh. She's in conversation with Mr. Uday.